Silence is not an absence, it's a presence. It carries the quiet workings of the world, subtle, patient, always moving beneath the surface. And in a world that's constantly filled with noise, we often forget to listen to what silence holds. Welcome back to Walking the Quiet Path with me, Cate Field. This is day 9, the hollow of silence. If you haven't watched the previous episodes, don't worry. It doesn't matter what order you watch them. But I know that some of you might like to start at the beginning and work your way through each day in order. This is a reminder that this is your gentle space for creative reflection. It's an invitation to pause, to notice, to reconnect with your inner creative voice. In this session, as in all the others, we will explore today's theme with a short poem, a reflection, and then my creative invitations to you. Take it at your own pace. Let the process be soft and gentle and yours. So when you are ready, let's begin. Here is a little poem for you. Silence is not empty. It holds things the world forgets. The whisper of wind against stone, the slow shifting of clouds, the sound of breath between words. If you stand still long enough, it speaks, not in noise, but in knowing. Let yourself listen. So what do you hear when you step into true stillness? What emerges in those hollow spaces where the words disappear? Today, in day 9, give yourself permission to listen to the silence, to the unspoken, to the unnoticed, the in-between. Let it guide your creativity, not as something to fill, but as something to honour. Here are your creative invitations. For painting and drawing, depict the shape of silence. Soft forms, muted colours, or vast open spaces. For writing, write a dialogue between silence and sound. What does silence say when given a voice? For sculpting and textile art, create something that embodies absence and presence. Hollow forms perhaps, or negative space, or quiet textures. For photography, capture an image that feels silent. An empty chair, a still landscape, a moment of pause. For mixed media, use layering to suggest something hidden beneath. What exists in the quiet that we do not immediately see? For your sensory prompt, find a quiet space. Close your eyes. Listen deeply. What do you hear that isn't immediate? Those distant sounds, the shifting air, your own heartbeat. Stay with it. Let the depth of silence settle in you and create from that space. But before you create, find that quiet place. Close your eyes and listen. From this place, allow your creativity to emerge, not rushed, not forced, but quietly, patiently, truly. There is so much life held in silence. Let it speak to you today. Not in noise, but in knowing.
I thought I would take the textile prompt for this one, and I've just got some scraps of cotton. I wanted a bit of a contrast, but I also wanted to keep it very plain. So I've got a bit of striped cotton here, and then this is a bit of an old pillowcase. I'm doing reverse applique, and what I'm doing, I've cut slits into the fabric just to show the stripe fabric underneath. I'm doing everything by hand. I don't always do this. I often use a sewing machine to do embroidery, but I wanted this to be very mindful, and obviously the sewing machine is very noisy. And I thought, no, I'll do this by hand. So I started to do some couching on this piece, just stitching over the top, which I like. And I like making these tiny samplers. I think that our female ancestors used to make samplers to practice their embroidery, and some of these are beautiful. That we've got a whole selection in our local museum that I've been really inspired by, and I'm sure you will have some as well, or maybe you have even inherited some, or perhaps you did some when you were little. I know that my grandmother had some on her wall that I was fascinated by, and she was very dismissive of them, but I thought they were beautiful. And when I'm teaching textiles, this is what I get my students to do. Just take bits of fabric that they like, learn what the fabric is, learn what it does, and then play and experiment. Obviously, if you are an embroiderer, then you can use all sorts of wonderful stitches. But if you're not, if you're new to textiles, or all you've done is sewn on a button before, then perhaps you might like to try a bit of creative textiles. I really like working with fabric. It does calm my mind. And in this prompt of silence, I think it's quite a nice way to play with the idea. I'm going to just cut another bit. Don't be afraid to move things about. See, again, it's that kind of seeing what happens. I'm just using ordinary cotton here. Nothing fancy at all. And a very fine needle. It's not an embroidery needle. It's just again, an ordinary needle. Scraps of fabric. And the lovely thing about these samplers is you can keep adding to them. I'll just show you something that I was working on in a tutorial the other day, and again, it's that kind of idea of adding bits to it, which I like. And I still haven't done anything with this. I am going to make it into a book cover. That's my plan, but it's not quite finished yet, so it's still waiting. And I've got another one here that you might like, with silk and multiple layers. And some of this is done with the machine and some by hand. But if you are new to this sort of art, then work on a tiny bit first. Find some really lovely colours. You don't need to buy anything because you've probably got these already. Just sort of scraps. I keep all my old linen if it's got holes in it or stains that I can't get out. I keep all of that because it makes really good fabric for either dyeing or experimental work, or for layering if I want to put something on top of another. Then I've got a whole load of buttons. There's my buttons here. Not quite sure why that pink one has strayed in there. Oh, these purple ones actually. I was probably tidying up very quickly. I pick up all sorts of bits and pieces, as I know many of you do, because you tell me. Let me know in the comments what you are going to do. I'm going to just have a lovely few moments with my embroidery. I might fold that back. I might put some other pieces underneath, perhaps another piece of couching, and I will work on it. I might show you that at a later date.
I really hope you have enjoyed this time together and that you have got ideas and thoughts and that you are feeling very creative. If you haven't liked or subscribed or switched on your notifications, that would be good, because I would hate you to miss one. And until next time, keep creating. Bye bye.